Right. Dan, do me a favour. I'm going to drop out. Will you invite me back in, Dan? Because I'll have to come in on my mobile. I know we're live, but my computer's at it. The GPU on it's doing something. It's not working at all.
You're going to take yourself out, or?
Yeah, I'll take myself out and then invite me back in. I can't take myself out, can I? Oh yeah, I can.
Oh dear. Good evening. I'll tell you what. I just want to say while we're gone here, again, I'm getting all the digs in the chat again that it's me that's late. I'm not having it. I'll tell you, I'm not having it. I was here on time. It's all about.
He was actually. I can back you up. I can back you up. Thank you very much. About
Graham's audio, and I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they left me in the background for over 5 minutes. It's outrageous, like, you know what I mean. The person of my status being left in the background. And they're all taking the mickey at me. So that is no reason. No, it's not me being late, like, you know. So where's me at, Richard? Hold on a minute.
Oh. Tommy Shelby is in the house.
Oh, yeah. You got a bit of that in you, like, you know what I mean? So there you
go. Where is Craig and what is going on? We are totally... Here he is. He's back. Here's Craig. Here he is.
I'm back.
If he ain't got his earphones, I'm going to crucify.
I have got my earphones. I have got my head down. I'm a pro.
Well,
I'm a pro. I'm a pro.
Oh, yeah. Just sound a
good
little
evening,
bit
good morning,
echoey,
good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome back to the Same Old Arsenal podcast, episode 115. What a week! I don't know what you two have been talking about. I don't know what you've all been talking about. I don't want to know what you've been talking about. I'm back. In a minute. 1 second then. I don't know what I'm going to try and hold this up now. See, whoever designed this mobile phone should put the head jack at the top so you can rest the phone so it's not wonky. What a nightmare start, but there you go. FA Cup final, beat Liverpool. Craig said we'd do both. Everyone said I was deluded. What you got to say about that, Dan?
Mate, do you know what? It needs to continue these predictions of yours, Craig. You said we beat Wolves. You said we beat Liverpool. You said we beat Man City. Just keep going, mate. Just keep going. Don't stop there. You got to predict that we're going to beat Villa, Watford, and Chelsea next, mate. Because I'll tell you what, it's a great week to be an Arsenal fan. It is a great week to be an Arsenal fan.
Yes, mate. Yes. Mate.
Can we start the podcast with a monologue from Dan on Granit Xhaka and David Luiz? I think that would be a fine way to start a show.
Of course. Once we've got the introductions out of the way, we'll do that. I'm sure Dan will be up for that.
Harry has been doing this all day, just waiting for me to talk about Xhaka and Luiz. But listen, strange start, but I'm very good, Craig, and it's a good time to be a gooner.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, indeed. Harry, how are you doing, mate? How are you? How have you been?
I've been good. I've been loving the performances lately. It's just lovely to have positive things to say and talk about and write about, and yeah. So I'm over the moon. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying being an Arsenal fan again.
Lee, what about you, son? After the defeat to Spurs, you know, what a way to forget about that defeat.
Yeah, perhaps I shouldn't come on the podcast on a Monday if we have results like we've had afterwards, you know. So, unbelievable. I've heard there was a little bit of fallout last week, you know, so I'm glad we're all friends again, you know what I mean? Oh, I love it. I do. I tell you, I absolutely love it, you know. But, yeah, what a week.
Have I missed something?
Yeah, have I missed something?
I thought there was a bit of arguing like last week, a bit of bantering about Granit Xhaka and this and that.
It's healthy debate.
Stop it!
That's what I'm saying. I love it.
It's just
I love
Harry.
it. I
It's
just
just
like-
Harry being. It's just Harry being wrong again. That's all it is, Lee. That's all it is.
Well, no,
You
I'm not having it. I
The
thought
FA
it was a
Cup
great
semi-final
great
said
watch
otherwise.
last week because of it. I thought it was a great watch last week. I thought it was really, what I love about this program is that we can all like disagree and argue, but it's all very calculated and it's very, very informal and informative. You know what I mean? And I love it. And I thought that last week there was an argument. I'm going to say it, lads. No one could win. You know what I mean? There was no right and no wrong, but it was great watch and I enjoyed it. And I was very, very down after last Sunday, Craig. Absolutely down. And going into the Liverpool game, I was still down, but Liverpool game give me hope. And then I'm going to say, wow, I'm so proud of what happened on Saturday. What a performance. What a team performance from management down to the players. And as Dan said, I walked away like a peacock after that game, proud to be a Gooner. And, yeah, absolutely fantastic. And the only disappointing thing is my mate Mustafi might miss the final, and I'll criticise him every week. But he was absolutely outstanding on Saturday. Absolutely outstanding. And
Poor old Simon.
When he's great, you have to watch it, And I'll tell you what, even Kolasinac come on and done a bit in the last couple of minutes, So it's not your week, Dan. That's all I'm saying.
And the return. It's been a while. He's been away for some weeks. We've missed him. Graham, how are you, sir?
I'm all right, mate. How are you? Nice to be back. I haven't been on for 4 months, Craig. 4 months.
4 months. Blimey. You were well missed, mate. Let me tell you that. You were well missed.
And the thing is, that I felt like a footballer who was sort of like...
out injured.
Yeah. I know you paid the big bucks to judges. He gets 5 Big Macs, Harry gets 4, Dan gets 3, and I'm on a sort of like a small cheeseburger. But I felt part of the team.
Well, 6 nuggets, but anyway.
And then you keep bringing in new. You sort of like put Ivan Gazidis to shame, really, because you keep recruiting well. You recruited Dan Potts, who was the best free signing you ever made, and then you brought in Paul. I'm sorry, Mark. I get the name right.
He's been called a few things since I've known him, but never Paul.
And I think it's sort of like he's been brilliant. So it's nice to be back. A lot's happened since I've been away. Lee Judge has got a Hollywood career coming up. New Die Hard series, Die Hard with half a pint. And
Excellent.
And Harry.
Invite him back.
Well, the thing is, I know they recruited you to take over as Bruce Willis's body double. So Harry's journalist career goes from strength to strength. You know what? When they sacked Clyde Tilsley as ITV football commentator, I honestly thought I couldn't believe that because he's such a good commentator. To replace him with Sam Matterface, and then I suddenly realised why. Because they didn't want to replace Clive Tilsley with Harry. So it'd be easier to replace Sam Matterface with Harry, wouldn't it? So that's a tactical move by ITV to get Harry into that ITV slot. Nice to see him doing commentating now, adding another string to his bow. And great to be back. I honestly thought I'd be coming back on tonight and it would be all doom and gloom. I was expecting to lose to Man City. We'd be saying Arteta was out of his depth. Harry would be defending Xhaka. But instead, we're all going to be praising Xhaka, praising Luiz. And I honestly think that the judge now should get his David Luiz shirt done.
Oh, what do you reckon to that, Lee? David Luiz and a wig. If you get the shirt.
And a wig, I tell you that. I think was it David Luiz? Was it David? I think it was David Luiz. I'll have to go and get it because I did say So
what a nightmare!
For the cup final, I'll go and get it. Well, talking about getting new shirts, Craig's shirt that looks lovely actually on, doesn't it?
I've got to say, as I'm walking around my kitchen trying to find my mobile phone stand. It's very unprofessional of us this evening, I'm afraid. Because my computer's gone up the Swanee. I can't find my mobile phone stand. But the shirt's lovely. I've got to say, when I saw it on the website, I was like, nah, I don't really like it. But when I saw it in the sports shop
listen, Craig.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Arsenal must have had a good week if you paid €90 for it. Jesus Christ.
That's it.
You must have been in a good mood. I'll tell you, that's all I'm saying. When they said €90 and you coughed it up, I've seen you at the bar when it was your round. You walked out. I'm just saying. Like, you know what I mean? You just said, I've got to go.
Anyone that knows me, Lee, knows that's not true. So you're going to have to
We
find something.
You can't even pull the phone holder. What's going on? You know what I mean?
No, I've got one. I just can't find it.
You're using the books. I bet you've got books. That's what you've got. Just put it on books. Yeah.
The boys probably had it.
The kids' library. Yeah,
the boys probably had it.
Like, you know what I mean?
Got it somewhere. But anyway,
It looks nice, the shirt.
I'll just have to hold it.
Got to say.
I suppose we better get on with the podcast. I suppose we better get on with it.
Can't you get some books or something? That's what I'll do. Want some books?
No, I'm trying to. No, I can't. Trying to get it to stand up.
What are we talking about? Your phone? I hope that's what you're talking about. Your phone?
I'll tell you what, I must admit, I weren't sure about that shirt, but it does look pretty good now. I've seen it on.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's better in the flesh.
Do you imagine what it looked when it's on a decent player? It looked bloody lovely, wasn't it?
I'm going to put a warning.
On him, you know? It's going to look on a proper player with a proper body.
When I post this,
look proper.
When I post this, I'm going to have to put a warning on it to skip to. How long have we been going for?
11 minutes 29.
11 minutes, right? Okay, we'll have to skip to 11 minutes 29 then. Right, Dan, let's go. Yeah, people in the comments want to know why you roasted me, Lee. What's going on?
Well, I haven't roasted you. I'm just saying how it is. We've had 11 minutes of Graham introducing himself. That's all I'm saying. Dan, FA Cup final, mate.
Europa League qualification could still happen, depending on results going our way and obviously us winning. What's a successful season, Dan? FA Cup final and winning the FA Cup and not qualifying, or would you be happy? Would you be happy with that? Would it be better if winning the FA Cup and qualifying for the Europa League as well?
I don't care where we come in the league. Let's win the FA Cup. Let's win that FA Cup, because this is the worst Arsenal side. This is the worst season I think I can certainly remember, certainly in my lifetime. And if we can win the FA Cup, then what an ironic. That would just be a weird way to end what has been a crazy season and a crazy 2020. But for me, we can do it. If we can beat Man City and we can beat Liverpool, we can beat Chelsea. And, don't get me wrong, they're going to want it as well. They're a great side. Frank Lampard's got to be up there for consideration for manager of the year with all the stuff he's had to deal with. He's been fantastic, I think, for Chelsea and given youth a chance. And he's had the Hazard leaving and the ban and all that sort of thing. But he's been fantastic. But I think that we should be going into that game with confidence. I was so impressed. It's by far the most complete performance that we've had under Mikel Arteta. We had great wins in Project Restart against Wolves. We had fantastic games before Project Restart under Mikel Arteta. But for me, this was the complete performance. And I wanted to look at what we were going to do against this Man City side for the pure fact that we never really got to see it at the Etihad because of David Luiz. But we saw straight away what we were doing this time at Wembley. And what we did was we kind of said to Man City, have the wings. Let them go wide. They've got no threat in the box whatsoever. Let them go long ball. Do not let them cut inside. We saw it once with Riyad Mahrez and Martinez made a great save. That was it. That was all they had. Keep them out wide and there won't be a problem. Make them play long balls. They've got no threat in the box with Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, no height to go from. And I was just so impressed with how we kept stuck to that. Aubameyang, first chance, wished he would have just placed that, to be honest with you, but he went to absolutely bury it. And normally strikers would then get their head down, not Aubameyang. That's why he's so good. The goals he scored were outstanding. And I know Harry wants me to say it, so I am going to say it. I don't think there was a poor player on the pitch. I thought Mustafi and Bellerin had a bit of a strange 10, 15 minutes. And after that, everyone was outstanding. Granit Xhaka and Ceballos were dominant in that midfield. That pairing seems to have worked since Project Restart. Both of them seem to be able to work well together. There's a kind of balance in our midfield when them two play. I thought Granit Xhaka was outstanding, particularly in the first half. I thought David Luiz was by far man of the match. I was so impressed with Ainsley Maitland-Niles. This is a guy who we thought had no future whatsoever at Arsenal. and he has now said he'll play wherever. I was surprised to see him playing in that position, but it was an absolute stroke of genius from Arteta in the end. This is somebody now in Ainsley Maitland-Niles that has kept Zaha quiet, Martial in his pocket, Adama Traore very quiet at Wolves, and now doesn't give Riyad Mahrez a sniff. He got beat once when he let him cut inside. Martin has pulled off a great save. I can't see a bad performance. People are saying, oh, it's a shame we don't know who to play in goal now. That's not a shame. Leno and Martinez, they've proven that they're the best two goalkeepers we've had since Seaman and Manninger. Let's be happy about that. Let's not be negative about that. Martinez has come in and has proven that he's been given his chance. There's so many positives at the moment with this team, and it has to be down to one man. Mikel Arteta has been outstanding. And I was so impressed with not just what he did on the pitch, but as soon as that whistle went, he went up to every single player, high-fiving them, hugging them, grabbing hold of Maitland-Niles, picking him up, looking at Ceballos straight away after, going up to Aubameyang. These players, you know, that some of them looked like their futures were gone. They were done at Arsenal. He has given them all the chance, all the trial. When you look at people like Mustafi and Xhaka and Ceballos, who everyone said just send back to Real Madrid, they're all now playing. Maitland-Niles looked like his future was elsewhere. They're all now playing and buying into what this manager's about. And that you have to give the guy credit for, because what he's doing with this team, what could he do with elite players? That's my message to the board. Back this guy, because it could be exciting.
Harry, a really good question comes in here from Richard Butler. Thanks for your question, mate. Thanks for watching. Good evening to you all in the chat box, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. Hello, if you're watching on Facebook. Sorry about the very unprofessional start there, but we're finally rolling. Harry, a good question here. Were they poor players before, or were they just poorly coached? They look like a new 11.
I think that's a great point. In terms of they've been, obviously the coaching has made a massive difference. But what happens when you're in a poor run of form and you're being exposed constantly and you've got problems? Your confidence dips, doesn't it, as a footballer? And then naturally your performances drop off. I don't think we should underestimate how important confidence is, particularly when you're playing at the highest level, when you're under intense scrutiny from every direction and fans are sitting there watching you. And let's be honest, there are a lot of Arsenal fans that sit week in, week out and wait for those players to fail. So that kind of stress and, you know, the impact that has on your confidence, I don't think is great. I think what Mikel Arteta has done is he's come in and he's coached them in terms of he's set up the team in a way where they don't concede so many spaces. No one individual is exposed like some people were, certain positions were in our team previously. And gradually, as that's gone on and the confidence has picked up and they've developed and they're buying into what he's doing, the confidence has come flowing back. And now you're seeing the levels that they can perform at. They were never bad players. They were players that were underperforming. So now, you know, it's taken a bit of time, but I think it's a great point. The coaching, in terms of the belief that it gives you, and the just the basics of being in the right place at the right time and not conceding spaces to people, it's made the world of a difference. And I always said it, didn't I, during Unai Emery's tenure, that he wasn't getting the maximum out of this group. I accepted that they weren't elite, and I accepted that he could only go so far. But I think we've been proven right now by Mikel Arteta, because he's come in, and yes, it may not still always be good enough, but which proves we were underachieving.
Absolutely. Before we go on to talk about the games in a bit more detail, Harry's knocked the nail on the head there, isn't he? It's better than it was before, and you can see. I mean, especially Liverpool and especially the Manchester City, you can see the changes that Mikel Arteta is starting to put on this side league.
Without doubt. Listen, I've been dying out for a performance like that for about 10 years. It's got to be about 10 years that something like a team, the manager has gone and looked at the opposition, set up a game plan for them, set out traps for them to fall into, and then exploit them. Now, we've gone under Arsene Wenger, who was a great manager, as we all know, but there were times when we weren't quite, and I look back at Alex Ferguson, he would do the same. He would change it against Arsenal and plot a different way and get all the plaudits for it. And what we've got now is what I thought was, I'll tell you what, I'm going to say this now, I'm bigging myself up a little bit, but I reckon Mikel Arteta watched our preview show, Dan, because I did say that we've got to stop them, let them come down the middle and let them have it from the flank, because they've not got a Dzeko. I did say that, and that is their downfall. You know what I mean? And they're very, very similar to what Arsenal used to be with no game plan. We get Giroud, and then we didn't have the the forward. You know, I think you have to very underestimate those sort of players. And but in saying that, it was just an absolute masterclass. And I'm going to say this now, looking back on it, they could still be out there now at Man City, and I don't think they'd have scored. We was that good. And it wasn't just about individuals. It was all about the team, the way we set out as a team. We set traps. You know, there has been games I've watched when we've, you know, against, say, like Sheffield, was it Sheffield United? I can't remember. Southampton, when Eddie got against the goalkeeper and won it from there. We didn't let that happen. What we done was we just sat back, let them have it to their goalkeeper, and then let him take the risks with his passing, which then and we then got on it from there. You know, obviously Mikel Arteta knows the way that Pep played, and it was fantastic. And I always say this now, going back to the game against Man City, in the very first game back from lockdown, for 40-odd minutes, we was doing okay. And then we had a moment of madness from David Luiz, and then obviously like the sending off. But what happened to happen today, what happened to happen in that game was no one to make mistakes and then get a little bit lucky. We made 2 mistakes in the whole game. That was in the first couple of minutes when Mustafi nearly got robbed of it in our own box, and Danny Ceballos made a little tackle. And then when Danny Ceballos messed up in the midfield, and really Sterling probably should have scored. But you have to ride your luck a little bit, like. But other than that, I thought we was absolutely outstanding on the day. It was just a masterclass. It was an absolute masterclass. And I'll tell you what I don't think people have put up too much is that, you know, they're going about how great Pep was. He was a beaten man. He didn't know what to do. He was looking around. He was talking to a chair. He was, like, you know, standing up. And with 10 minutes to go of that game, his face told it all that he was beaten. A beaten man. He didn't know what to do. And I think if you think about that, you know, that's a fantastic compliment to Mikel Arteta. And what it also echoes to me is that he has done that with players that are not in the same league as what he's got. Imagine if he had the players that Pep's got, and then implement all those structures and those traps and everything there. I just think that if we do not back this manager, come the summer, we're going to miss a trick on this, because I tell you, like, you know, he is going to be sought after, absolutely sought after, if we don't treat him right. And you know, this is a big summer for the ball now to show their ambition. I'm not saying they've got to throw loads of money away, but they've got to try and give him the tools for us to go on. Because at this moment in time, what I'm loving about him, boys, is that he can do it when we're up against it, and he can do it when we're the dominant side. And if you're going to be successful in Europe and in the league, you are going to have to go to games and give up possession and do what he done yesterday on a regular basis. You're going to have to go to Liverpool. You're going to have to go to Man City. You're going to have to go to Man United and put in those performances. And you know what? The one disappointment is that probably for the next year you won't be able to see these away performances. But Arsenal are going to be a joy to watch away from home if this is continuing. Fantastic.
Graham, again, mate, welcome back. To tell us, mate, how has Arteta changed our fortunes since we've come out, you know, since the football has been starting again? You know, how do we find ourselves beating teams like Liverpool? You know, a lot of people are telling me, oh, you're beating Liverpool, but you beat a Liverpool side that are on the beach. This, that and the other, you know. But to me, we beat Liverpool. Don't matter to me where they are. We've beat them. And then we go and beat Manchester City in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Where has all this good fortune come from, Graham?
Well, I think there's a number of factors, Craig. I think he's given the players structure, defensive security, best of all, trust in each other and belief. And he's obviously, since he's come in, obviously every single player he's given a defined role to in the team, and they know exactly what they have to do, what their jobs are. He's earned their trust. And they bought into what he's trying to do. I think if ever a performance defined what Arteta has brought to the club in such a short space of time and given to this group of players, that was it on Saturday night. As I said, it was an unbelievable performance. The team were compact. They tracked their runners. They kept De Bruyne quiet. And as Dan said, they kept sort of like forcing them out wide to defend crosses, knowing that they had no height in the box. I think that was the key to it. But there were 3 tactical things, I think, that won us that game. First of all, as Dan said, he brought Maitland-Niles on against Wolves, and the way he dealt with Traore that day, playing on the left side, even though he's right-footed, I think was a barometer of what he was going to do in this game. He knows Man City inside out. He knows they like using the right half spaces. So he put Maitland-Niles on that side for his athleticism to match up Mahrez, not allowing him to come inside, force him on the outside, keep him off his left foot. That was the key to it. I thought the real key to the game, though, was the role of Alexander Lacazette. Lacazette, in that game, played as a false 9. He got through a tremendous amount of work. Now, while Pepe and Aubameyang were pushing high to press, which is what he wants to do, Lacazette's job, if they beat the press, was to make sure that Gundogan didn't get possession in front of the back 4 and be able to progress their play. So every time Gundogan got on the ball or they looked for Gundogan, Lacazette was closing down the space. City couldn't build up from deep areas like they like to do, playing out from the back. It forced them to go long, as Dan said. And I think that was part of the game plan, and we were able to deal with those long balls. And the third thing we did really well was that we played, I think we learned from the way Man United beat them early in the season. Man United beat them playing a counter-attack style. So basically, you crowd the middle, stop them going through the middle, aware of the cutback, make sure they don't get the cutbacks on, and then when you get the cutbacks cut out, you look to play long and use your runners on the counter-attack. So we played a counter-attacking style of football, and we were compact. Xhaka and Ceballos did not get too far ahead. They literally sat in front of our defence the whole game. So I think it was a mixture of those things. It was Maitland-Niles taking care of Mahrez. It was Lacazette's role in the false 9, stopping their build-up, and then just playing on the counter-attack with a little bit different. But I think every single player, to a man, was superb in that game. And having said that, though, you need Aubameyang to take the chances, and you need to score first, I think, when you're playing like that, and that's what happened. But overall, we rode the luck in the second half. I thought they moved it a bit quicker second half, City. Had Sterling taken his chance at 1-0, they might have equalised. He had a good chance. Martinez made a great save, as you say, from Mahrez. But as the game went on, we were the ones more likely, I think, to seal it, and that's what happened. And in the end, to reach our 21st FA Cup final is a tremendous achievement. And I must admit, I didn't see that coming, but it was a fantastic night. And I think a lot of that has to go down to Arteta, Craig.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I mean, sorry for going missing there again. I'm going to get my phone charger. My phone's beeping at me because it's running out of battery. Dan, let's talk about Xhaka and Luiz. Look, 2 players that have been highly criticised on this podcast. Let's not. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Not me.
Let's not. Yeah, let's not beat around the bush. We have given them a lot of grief over the season. But I mean, David Luiz, Mustafi, Xhaka against Manchester City and even Liverpool, Dan, they were superb. They were superb. And going back to that question that Richard put in when we first started talking, is it because now they're getting coached well? Are we seeing an actual man come in who can coach and manage a player? I don't think we've had that since Arsene Wenger. Well, the good Arsene Wenger. It's something to get excited about, I think, because he's right. He's right. It does look like a new team.
Dan, before you come in, I'll just quickly give you David Luiz's stats of the game. David Luiz.
Graham's back.
David Luiz, 100% aerial duels won, 100% tackles won, 69% pass accuracy, 11 clearances, 4 interceptions, 1 through ball. Colossal performance. Do you want Granit Xhaka's first half numbers to excite?
What if we say no?
To excite, I can get this one's to excite Harry. Granit Xhaka first half numbers: 100% pass accuracy, 32 touches, 4 clearances, 1 interception. Did not lose possession once. A dominant Wembley performance first half, Harry. I'm going to go back to Dan now.
Thanks, mate. Great to have you back, Graham. Great off.
Cheers, Graham. And that's really set me up nicely, mate. They were rubbish. No, I'm joking. Listen, I will always say when a player's done well, no matter who they are or how much I like or dislike the player. But what we're seeing here is something that Arteta can take a lot of credit for, because he has stuck with them when all of us were saying get rid of him. And whether that's get rid of him as in terms of at the club, get rid of him out the team. Everybody after Man City was saying, dump Kolasinac, don't give Luiz a new deal and get rid of Mustafi. And he's continued to play all of them and stuck to his guns. David Luiz, since Man City, when he got sent off, has not been poor in a back three. And I've not said that David Luiz has been poor in a back three. Everybody knows I dislike Granit Xhaka and I dislike Kolasinac. Now, Kolasinac I don't think has been amazing, but you asked me about David Luiz, Mustafi, and Granit Xhaka. And to be fair to David Luiz, I don't think there's an Arsenal fan that can say that he was not the best performer on the pitch. I thought he was outstanding in every part of his play. It was a commanding centre-back performance and one that kept a very, very good side, by the way, pretty quiet. I thought that last-ditch tackle against Sterling was world-class defending, and I thought he was by far my man of the match. When it comes to Mustafi, I thought again he had a shaky few minutes along with Bellerin. Both of them picked it up. I thought Mustafi was brilliant, and I've seen some kind of consistency from a player that I didn't believe could get a run of games at Arsenal because he was so dead and buried, in my opinion. But we're seeing this manager believe in them, coach them when he was told that they were uncoachable. And with Granit Xhaka, sometimes you have to hold your hands up. I got Martinez wrong. I didn't think Martinez was going to be as great. I don't think anyone thought he was going to be as great as he has been. I think some people thought he was going to be good, but to be this good is crazy. No, you didn't. You said he'd be good goalkeeper, not this great. I think he's a great goalkeeper.
Dan, I said he was a good goalkeeper, and everyone went, oh!
Dan, was that on Mustafi, Dan? Was that a penalty? The tackle on Sterling?
No, that wasn't a
penalty.
No.
I thought it was a pen. I'll be honest with you.
What?
I thought it was a pen. Yeah.
What?
I thought
he got the ball. I thought he got the ball, I must admit.
I thought he took his leg first, I'll be honest with you. But
fair enough.
No, that's never.
Give it shit.
Never a penalty.
They have picked it up, and let me just finish on Granit Xhaka because I know Harry's dying for me to say it. The guy has been, since Project Restart, the guy has shown consistency. He has been the best that we've got in midfield. And without a doubt, we do look different without him in the midfield. It has to be said. You can't sit there and lie and bullshit just because you don't like the player. I think what you have to give credit as well for is Danny Ceballos next to him, because I think he has been fantastic also. You know, so when you're going to credit a player that I haven't given much credit to, you have to give the player the credit next to him also. And one player we haven't mentioned who's turning into my favourite player and will be by a long way is Kieran Tierney. My God, what a signing. 25 million, what a steal. Everyone said, oh, he's injury prone, he's made of glass. He looks so good, whether you play him left back, left centre back. He'll put his life on the line for you. He's passionate, he gives desire. I think he will be one of Arsenal's best signings over the last few years. I'll go as far to say as that. I think he's showing everything that I want to see in an Arsenal side, and Arteta's obviously impressed with him. I think Kieran Tierney is going to be a fantastic Arsenal player. So yeah, credit where credit's due. They've been a fantastic team over the last few weeks, and that includes Granit Xhaka, Mustafi, and David Luiz.
Wow. just the people in the chat there are saying, oh, if I send a super chat message, will it get read out? Don't send super chat messages tonight because I don't know if I can get them. I'm on mobile. I don't know if I'll see them or not, and I don't want you to think I'm being rude and not reading them out. I do try and read them all out normally, but sometimes they move so quick I miss some. So my apologies. What do you want now, judges?
I just want to say something about. Can I just say, I have been influenced about David Luiz, Granit Xhaka and Mustafi because every time they do something wrong, right, Dan gets on my phone and saying, well, did you see that? Did you see that? And he's brainwashed me into this, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and
sorry, judges, your signal's going.
I'm sorry, I'm going against you now, Dan. I'm going against you, Dan, like, you know.
No, I don't think we can quite get
I've got to echo what he says there. do you know what? I've got to say a couple of things. You know, it's incredible, really, what I've seen. And I'm obviously talk about Granit Xhaka. You can talk about that, but I'm going to talk about Bellerin, because do you remember he had that performance I think it was when he played at home when Cedric come on and scored. Who was that against? Norwich, was it? And he had an absolute nightmare.
Norwich, yeah.
Was it Norwich? And he had an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And you looked at his face and you thought, well, and the people were saying, that's him done. He's finished now. He's finished. He ain't going to be the man. You know, that's his lot. Look at his face. Everybody's celebrating. That was another one of Dan's calls. Look at them all celebrating, and he's just walking off like there's nothing happening. Like, you know, but for that to happen to him, and then to come back and produce about two performances after that, tells you a lot about the character and attitude of these players. And I have to say that Granit Xhaka has just I you know, there are going to be fans that I do believe are not going to forgive him for what he done. But I'm not one of those. I think, you know, we all make mistakes in life, and what he's done, his response from that has just been a complete and utter turnaround. It's just been absolutely phenomenal, absolutely fantastic. And I thought yesterday's game, him and Ceballos, by the way, you know, yeah, you can talk about Aubameyang and David Luiz, they're all fantastic. But them two in that midfield, the work rate and desire, and then when to get on the ball and make things happen as well, I just thought was absolutely outstanding. And, you know, the bit, you know, poor old Mustafi's going to miss the final now, you know, and we was all hoping he'd miss it anyway because we all wanted Holding in, you know what I mean? But he was absolutely superb yesterday, and Saturday. And I'm sorry, I'm gutted that he's injured now and going to miss the final, you know what I mean? Because after that performance, he deserved to play in the cup final.
He did. Absolutely. I agree with you there, mate. I mean, we've all sat here and given poor old Simon a lot of grief. You know, and then the last two games there against Liverpool and Manchester City, he's been absolutely superb, and looks like a half decent defender again. Harry, you've defended Granit Xhaka. You've hand over fist all the time. Going back to last week, you know, and touching on what Lee said, I've forgiven Granit Xhaka over what he done. I know there's fans, like Lee said, there's fans that won't. But is it now time, do you think? I mean, especially if we win the FA Cup, or even if we don't win the FA Cup, the way he's playing at the moment, shouldn't we, as fans, be zoning in on what he's doing at the moment and not what he did in the past?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the caveat to all of that is we know that he's not perfect. Yeah, he does have shortcomings, as does every single footballer. But the way he was being exposed was criminal to me in terms of the way the team was being set up. And it's not just Granit Xhaka. Mikel Arteta himself will know better than anybody how lonely it has been to play in that defensive midfield position for Arsenal and constantly be exposed and be asked to cover left and right when you're not necessarily the most mobile of players. Mikel Arteta, he was a lot more elegant in possession than Granit Xhaka looks, but he was also not very mobile in terms of he didn't have a great deal of pace. He didn't really get across the pitch well. He wasn't particularly strong. And he spent years playing in that midfield and being exposed. And so for him to come in and see obviously the same thing happening with Granit Xhaka, it's the first thing that he's addressed. It's honestly the first thing Mikel Arteta addressed. All of a sudden you started seeing Xhaka playing in that slightly to the left role. Now you're seeing him play more centrally when we play with the wing backs because he doesn't really need to cover out there. And you're just seeing the benefits of having a manager that understands exactly what it's been like to play in that position. And Graham touched on most of the tactical points, and that's absolutely right. You know, Granit Xhaka will be happy if Maitland-Niles is sort of forcing the player to go wide and he's not coming in field, because those players are being kept away from that area, and it frees up Granit Xhaka, doesn't it? And Danny Ceballos. How many times on Saturday did we see Granit Xhaka arrive in his own penalty area and clear something? Why was that? That's because the tactics were channeling Manchester City out to the flanks. And it means that he's not having to track a run all the time. He can be that extra man and drop into the defense and help out. And again, you know, it comes back to that thing. When you set a team up right, everybody knows their job and you're asking them to defend, I don't know, 20 yards of space as opposed to 40, 50 yards of space. Naturally, they're going to do it better. And you're seeing the benefit in a lot of players. It's the same with Mustafi. You know, people talk about he had a moment, didn't he, where he lost the ball to Sterling in his own penalty area early on in the game. But realistically, should he have ever received that pass? I don't think so. You know, so there was a few dodgy moments, but in terms of the way we were playing and inviting, we were inviting that pressure on purpose. Mikel Arteta knows this Man City team inside out, and he was trying to invite them on because he knows they're a proactive team that are going to come and try and get the ball off of you. They're not going to sit off like Spurs did and let you pass it around your back five. They're going to come. And then if you can bypass that using Granit Xhaka's passing range, David Luiz's passing range, as you saw on a number of occasions, Kieran Tierney even, then you can expose Manchester City. But playing at the back when people thought that certain players had dodgy moments, it was all intentional. It was all part of the plan to suck Manchester City in. And credit to those players because they've taken a lot of shit from people about losing the ball in dangerous areas. But this shows how much they believe in their manager, that they were willing to even still sit there and take it and take the risks and play to believe in what Mikel Arteta is asking them to do. And it paid off. And Granit Xhaka, I'm so happy for him because, look, I know that a lot of the criticism has been justified, but a lot of it hasn't as well. And people just need to get over that whole incident. It's done. It's in the past, man. Who cares about it? Like the same Arsenal fans that sit there and say, you know, they understand why Ashley Cole left or why Robin van Persie left, can't forgive Granit Xhaka, who's playing for us now and is performing well. So just get over it.
I agree with you, mate. It's time to move on. It is time to move on. Yeah.
I just want to come in and just sort of like add something to this Xhaka debate, which I think Harry might not like this, but I think it's worth just debating anyway.
Go on, Graham.
First of all, Danny Ceballos. Numbers for Danny Ceballos on Saturday: 79% pass accuracy, 3 out of 4 accurate long passes, 2 out of 2 accurate passes, 1 chance created, 4 out of 4 tackles won, 6 out of 8 duels won, and 3 interceptions. Combative performance from Danny Ceballos, and he's first in every single number of everything I see on Sky today since the lockdown. So that's about him. Can I just sort of widen the Xhaka debate slightly? I agree 100% with what Harry's saying about Xhaka. All right. My only doubt about this Xhaka situation, I think it's worth debating amongst you all, is we have to understand what Arteta's done. He's basically looked at the squad of players he's got and he's put them in a system that suits those players. That system is 3-4-3. I don't think that's the system he wants to play the longer his reign goes on. I think he wants to go to a 4-3-3. So the advantage of a 3-4-3 is it suits Luiz because Luiz can play in a back three as a sweeper or bring the ball out in his passing range and he gets protection. It benefits Granit Xhaka because he's got protection behind and the smaller spaces suit his lack of mobility and occasionally his lack of awareness. And the fact that he's always got to move it onto his left side, as Harry says, he plays in that left side. And it suits the wing-backs. The wing-backs can play high like Bellerin and Tierney. So everything he's done suits this group of players. But if he's going to move to a 4-3-3 in the long term, I can't see how Luiz and Xhaka will be part of that formation.
Graham, you're spot on, mate. You're spot on. It's a pleasure to have you back. Honestly, mate, that is what I've been saying.
Hang on. This is not the argument that we're having. It's not the argument we're having. The argument we're having is can we get out? No, 1 second.
Yeah,
the argument we're having is why can't people get over what he done? He's done. Let's move on. He's performing.
No, they need to get over it. And to be honest with you, they need to get over it. Since he's come back, Xhaka, he's been immense. And he was putting his body on the line Saturday. He was a leader on Saturday. Everything he did in that structure of what Arteta wanted from the team in that shape, he carried out superbly. But I think we can't kid ourselves to think that this is going to be the system in the long term. Now, if he goes to a 4-3-3, Luiz is going to struggle in a 2 at the back, and Xhaka's going to struggle in a pivot. So I just, as much as I don't know what Harry thinks about that, but as much as I do agree with him on Xhaka, I just don't see the future for Xhaka and Luiz in this Arsenal team. I look at the players who are expendable at the moment. I think Kolasinac will be gone. I think Ozil will be gone. I think Guendouzi is going to go. I think Luiz will play out one last year. And I think ultimately, if he gets the DM he wants, if it's not Partey, someone of that ilk, a more physical player, powerful player, I can't see a future for Granit Xhaka. I'll be honest with you. I'll just throw that out as a debate there. I don't know what Lee thinks on that, Lee.
Yeah, look, listen, I think that the way Man City plays probably the way that Arteta want to play in the end, because he's been part of that. He's brought up in that culture. But at this moment in time, it's like there are players that will be sacrificed eventually, and David Luiz will be one, and probably there'll be 3 or 4 more down the line. But at this moment in time, we're playing a 3-5-2 or 3-5. Sorry, a 3-4-3, 5-3-3. And I think that with that system, it suits the players that we've got in at the moment. Yeah, it does suit David Luiz. It does suit Xhaka. It does suit Danny Ceballos. But Harry's always been one to turn around and say, and I'm going to stick up for my mate Harry today, because he's always turned around and said that Xhaka has never, really performed because he's not had the right partner alongside him. Now that comes down to the coach that's not providing the right tools for him. Like he done okay with Torreira when he come in, but I just think that these two just pivot off each other, and it's a superb combination. Sometimes it's like forwards, they click and something's happened, and the way they complement each other is fantastic. And I think you have to give Danny Ceballos a lot of credit, because I think he's changed his game a little bit to what it was. He's had to adapt, because if you want to be in the Premier League, he's going to have to adapt. And what I think that's happened with Ceballos, I would say, like, go back to when January, December time, he was probably thinking, do you know what? I want to get back to Spain. This ain't for me, this sort of football. But along come Mikel Arteta, and he's fed him what this could be. This is what it can be like. And now all of a sudden he's thinking, do you know what? I want to embrace English football. I want to be a part of it. And it's going to make him, I think, a better player for Spain if they've got somebody like that can do both jobs instead of just one doing one job. Because to me, he does both. So I think it's a great combination. I do think that eventually Granit Xhaka will be moved on, because, if you want to get to the next level, but to get to that level, we've got to have certain players. And what's great about it now, in my opinion, is that all of a sudden the central midfield partnership is not a priority. It's not a problem. Where we was going about 5-6 weeks ago, oh, we need a new midfield. We knew this now. We've got other areas we can now get onto a priority, and then we can go to that. But I think moving on, these two players could get us into the top 4. I'm not saying that they could win us the league, but I definitely feel they could get us into the top 4 challenging.
The only there's one final point, Lee, and this is the only weakness of this. Your argument, right, is Xhaka and Ceballos was perfect in front of a back 3 when we're defending. Okay, when they literally sat in front of the back 3, offered protection, and then literally looked for long balls, right? Now, when you're playing teams like Man City and Liverpool, when you're giving them 65% possession and you're defending, that's the roles where they can do those roles in that style. My only argument against this, you saw against Tottenham Hotspur the complete opposite when you had Xhaka and Ceballos, and that was that when Tottenham sat with a low block deep, just gave us the ball, Xhaka and Ceballos were just weaving pretty shapes across the pitch. There was no penetration in that partnership. So I think that ultimately he's going to need a midfielder who's got a bit of drive, who's going to add something to that midfield pivot, And I just think
totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. And that's why I think he's looking at someone like Coutinho. That's why I think they're looking for someone like that can open up things when we're in top. I totally agree with you. This is a working process, Graham. You know what I mean? You've got to start somewhere, and this build from the back. Let's get the foundations right. But I think that's why they're looking to sacrifice someone like Guendouzi for someone like Coutinho, because he offers us something that we haven't got. Where Guendouzi can do what Xhaka does and everything like that. That's my opinion.
I'll come to Dan now, because we're going to come to that. But it's just there's a message in here saying that, about Xhaka. Some can't get over it as it was disrespectful to the armband of the club. Would you have accepted Vieira or older fans Adams doing it? Now, to play devil's advocate to that, I remember Patrick Vieira throwing his shirt on the pitch and trudging off.
Fans wouldn't sit in the stadium and abuse Patrick Vieira. That's the difference.
That's the difference.
Or Tony Adams.
Yeah, so I mean, Patrick Vieira done exactly the same thing. And Patrick,
Listen,
Yeah, but no, Lee. It's a
fantastic question.
It's a good point.
But Patrick Vieira threw off his shirt, and Arsenal fans would have turned a blind eye to it. Do you know why? Because he was that bloody good. That's why. You know what I mean?
Well,
I do feel that Xhaka's been made a little bit of a scapegoat with it all. I really do.
I do too.
You know
but look,
he's not the first one to have done something bad like that. Come on.
He's not.
No.
We have to remember what we're looking at here, and let's not get too carried away. We don't want Granit Xhaka in the side still because he's not going to win us the title when we want to win the title. You say, Lee, Xhaka hasn't had the great partner. Well, neither did Vieira and Fabregas didn't need great partners because they were superb footballers. And if Granit Xhaka needs a partner to be good, then he's not good enough for Arsenal. So as far as I'm concerned, we still need to be looking at removing these players. It's not that Mustafi's now Cannavaro and Xhaka partners.
Vieira never had partner.
Didn't need a partner, I said. Didn't need a partner to be good, Harry, did he? Vieira didn't need a partner to be good. He didn't go, I'll tell you what, Vieira's poor without Gilberto or without Petit. He was still quality. Xhaka apparently needs a partner to be a good player. Ozil needs people around him to be quality. I don't want players like that. I want players that are wicked all the time. Aubameyang hasn't had a partner.
Yeah.
Aubameyang hasn't had a partner for all bloody season. For 3 years, we've been trying to partner Aubameyang with someone. He's still banging in 20 goals because he's good enough. So if there's players that are good enough for Arsenal that don't need partners, I'll have them, please. If you want the Xhakas and Mustafis to stay, then don't come crying when we come 6th or 7th again. We need to be moving forward. We need to be going forward.
I think Dan's right there, Craig. Can I just add something to that debate around Xhaka, which we need to, I think, remember? When he threw his shirt down on when he got
he never threw his shirt down. When
he told the fans to F off, whatever he said that day, whatever he did that basically was unfitting for the captain of Arsenal Football Club, which is what the gentleman's going on about. That I thought Emery had thrown him under the bus. Emery made him captain, didn't he? And that was not popular with the fans, right? He wasn't playing well enough. He was struggling to hold his place in the team. I think we have to remember that. And that was a culmination of what went on in the weeks prior to that incident in that game against Crystal Palace, where he threw his shirt. Where he came off slowly and he reacted the way he did. I think that the fans didn't like the fact he'd been made captain, so that was part of the frustration that day. And to be honest with you, his performances at the start of the season weren't good. You know, he was giving away, and you know, since he's been at Arsenal Football Club, he'd made more errors that led to goals than anybody in the Premier League. I think we have to be aware of that as well. So that was
Richard in the comments. Richard in the comment makes a good point. It was the players that voted him captain.
Yeah, they did. Exactly. They did. But Emery was the one who put that stupid brawl in, wasn't he? I mean, the manager should be deciding who's captain, not giving it to the players. I've never heard anything. All the best managers don't suddenly, ask 3 of their players who should we have as captain. They decide who's going to be the captain, don't they?
We'll move on for it. And I'm leaving it at this. You say that, but Arsene Wenger gave Theo Walcott the captaincy because it was his birthday. Anyway, Lee, I want to talk to you about this rumour of swapping Guendouzi for Philip Coutinho. I know it's a very, it's a strong rumor at the moment. Apparently, it's being talked about. The formalities are being done. Again, this is throwing up debate. Guendouzi, a player that we could sell on. You know, swapping him for a player that really probably hasn't got any sell-on value. It's going to cost us a lot of money in wages. What would your thoughts be on that deal?
Do you know what? I'm not going to look at it from a financial point of view or how much this and wages and all that. I'm looking at it. I'm going to look at it as a deal. Will it improve us? And I think that it will. I think short term as well as long term. I think he's about 27, 28, so he's got 3 or 4 more years in there. I think we just touched on it a little while ago with Graham. I think that Arsenal need somebody that's going to go in between the lines and do the job. You know what I mean? And now it's obvious. It's not going to be Mesut Ozil. Mm-hmm. It's obvious that it's not going to be him. So we need somebody else that's going to come in there and do that. And it's not just a number 10 role, because with Coutinho, he can go anywhere. He can go onto the wide areas. He can go in the hole. He can play in numerous positions in that sort of front 4. So you wouldn't have to say to him, right, you just play the number 10 role. Now, I think that when Mesut Ozil goes out to the wide, he's not the same player. But when Coutinho goes out there, and I'm going on the form that when he would play for Liverpool, by the way, he could make things happen there, and he could also make things happen in the middle. And there's also another good point about Coutinho is that what we lack from Granit Xhaka, from Dani Ceballos to everybody in that team at this moment in time is we lack a goal threat from midfield. Someone that's going to bag us 10, 12, 13 goals a season. We had Aaron Ramsey that done it, right? And we have not replaced it. So I think at the end of the day, before we go, we've got to replace this, that. We haven't replaced Aaron Ramsey's goals from midfield. We need to do that. And somebody of Coutinho's ilk, bit of Premier League experience is something that we can afford to do. Now, I look at Guendouzi at this moment in time and I see him not playing. The last time he played was against Brighton when we lost. I don't see when he plays those sort of performances that we see on Saturday. So could he be surplus requirements? Yeah, I think that he could be. And if we have to do it, then we do it. I don't care about wages. I'm not interested in about how much he is and how much Coutinho is going to be and how much what's name's going to be. If they can get in somebody like a Coutinho who's going to do exactly what he does for half the price, and I don't know his name, fine, I'm not bothered. But if it's a deal that can be done and they feel that it can be, then I think somewhere along the line sacrifices have to be made, and we have to accept that. Now, if Mikel Arteta feels that it is Coutinho that he wants, then that's fine with me. I don't want to be saying, "Oh, we can't get him, so we're going to get somebody for like they did with Emery, with Pepe." We're saying, "All right, we get somebody that we can get, but on installments or anything like that." If we can get the deal done and it's the player that Mikel Arteta feels that can help us, I think it'd be great. And I tell you what is a very, very good point that Graham made earlier on. Alex Lacazette done that role on Saturday when he dropped in things like that. On that, someone like Coutinho could play the false 9 or something like that with the two wide players of maybe be Aubameyang and Pepe. Someone that can get into that hole, drive forward, play little intricate little passing. And by the way, in saying that, Lacazette was absolutely outstanding at doing it on Saturday. But if you're looking long term, then maybe that's another role that they can do. They're all little things that Mikel Arteta is going to try and build up in the next couple of windows. And I'm bless you, Harry. Yeah, you know what I mean. So hopefully, you know what I mean. That's
just to wear masks next
so
week.
for me, yeah, for me, listen, I don't, I don't know if it's up for debate and that. If Mikel Arteta says, "Yeah, I want to swap Guendouzi for Coutinho," I'm going to be happy with it.
Absolutely.
Can I come in, mate? Go for it. I just want to say, we're talking about the number 10 role, and Graham was absolutely right to raise the point that against Spurs we had a problem where the midfield couldn't penetrate, and I get that. The thing is, though, you can't really play with a false 9 and a number 10. If you look at the way Liverpool operate, where Firmino drops into that hole all the time, they don't have a number 10. They play with a flat 3 in midfield. And this is where Mikel Arteta needs to decide what he wants to do going forward. We all agree that at the moment, he's not playing the way that he probably wants to play in the longer term. But for me, it's either a number 10 or it's a false 9. You can't really fit both into the side. At the moment, he's preferring to give us that extra body in defence to make us more stable rather than playing a number 10, whether that be Willock or Ozil or whoever. So I can't see him going out and getting a number 10 unless he sees that as the longer term sort of style he wants to play. And I just feel
Harry, he does. He wants to move to a 4-3-3. He wants it's a high pressing, counter pressing, possession based game, isn't it? So,
are we not just speculating that because he's been at Manchester City? Because there's no evidence to suggest that is what Mikel Arteta is going to do forever. It's purely, we're basing it on what he's done at Man City. But I don't know about you guys, but I've been taken aback by the differences between Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola, as opposed
to... Yeah, good point, mate.
Harry, name me one team in Europe at the top of the European football leagues at the moment who plays 3 at the back.
Well, a lot of the Italian teams do it.
Well, are Juve playing 3 at the back at the moment?
They do sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, but not consistently, do they? Most teams. What is the most successful formation?
Juve have world class centre halves, and are you sure that Arsenal are going to have necessarily the money even next season to go and get world class centre halves? I think that Mikel Arteta, when he came in, everybody thought this is Pep Guardiola 2.0, and that's not been the case at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see Mikel Arteta. What I've loved about him is that he's not bogged down on one idea. He has principles in which he wants to see his team operate, i.e. closing people down, being, the non-negotiables, as he calls them. But he's not bogged down and stuck on one system or like that. That's what I've loved about him. And so, yes, I probably think if I had to stick my neck on the line and guess, I'd probably say, yeah, maybe he wants to change that formation. But I wouldn't put it past him seeing it working and continuing with it. That's all I'm saying. In which case, he needs to decide what he's going to do, because that's going to really impact on his transfer strategy. I don't think he'll go and spend a fortune on a number 10. I really don't.
Well, one final point on this, Harry, is that obviously he can't play like Pep because he hasn't got the players that Pep's got. So what he's done is he's basically playing.
Will he ever have 50, 60 million spent on a right back?
He's obviously used, he's tweaked one or two things around with the players he's got, Harry. He can't play the system that Pep's got with the players he's got. And until he gets the players like what Pep did, ultimately he's not going to have the money to spend that Pep had. But I think until he gets the players who suit that system, a 4-3-3, he's not going to be able to play it. And I think that's the reason when you talk about, I've been surprised how he's not been like Pep. He hasn't been able to be like Pep. He's developed a system like what Pep does about, with the inverted fullback, like the way there are certain similarities in the way that he's brought from Manchester City, but he can't play it fully because he hasn't got the players. I think you need to recognise it.
Agreed, but do you think he will just drop what's been working? Just
because in his
mind he's got an ideal way of playing, which I get, and that's the end goal. But I don't think we're going to see that end goal in the next season.
We won't see it for a long time until he gets the players in he needs. I think the one thing that impressed me, the other thing I forgot to mention earlier that really impressed me on Saturday, there's two things I always thought watching Arsenal, even under Wenger. We didn't stop crosses coming into the box. Saturday we were happy for crosses to come into the box because we knew they didn't have much height up front. But the other thing we didn't do was we didn't close down well enough. Ali always goes on about you need to close players down. What he has this Arsenal team doing is the moment the opposition get the ball, the players sprint to close down. Kieran Tierney, for example, was sprinting 15 yards to close someone down. Even on the edge of the box, when they got it, Man City, they didn't have time to think. He's brought that mentality from Manchester City, the way they close players down, the way they get the ball back quickly. But he hasn't yet got the tools, I think, to actually play the way he wants to play. I think ultimately he wants to play the way all top teams play in Europe, Harry, which is 4-3-3. That's my honest feeling about it. I know Italian teams play with three at the back sometimes because Italian football is slow, isn't it? And that's the way that they play. But you want more European football than me, but I just think 4-3-3 is the most successful formation that wins most trophies in the top European football sides.
Dan, what about you, mate? What this Guendouzi Coutinho thing? Could Coutinho come in and cement a place?
Not for me. Not for me. It'd be hypocritical of me to say that I think he should come because I think he is a number 10. I'm not so sure that he has been playing out wide. That's why Barcelona didn't fancy him. And Bayern Munich, he hasn't really done anything with them on loan. So I'm not so sure. For a lot of money a week, I think it'd be a bit of a risk. I'd rather go for the young lad at Salzburg, if I'm honest, that's banging him in. He's only 19 and he looks to be more of a realistic signing to me. I'm not going to try and say his name because it's got all S's and Z's and B's in it. But Harry might be able to have a better go than me, but I certainly won't be able to be doing that. And Lee definitely won't be able to say it. So, so I'd rather do that. I think in terms of swapping Guendouzi, I would rather see us get a bit of cash for Guendouzi because Arteta clearly doesn't fancy him. I think we could probably get anything between 25 and 40 for Guendouzi. I think we could try and get a lot for him because I think he's got a hell of a lot of potential. I know his attitude might not be great, but let's not say that too loudly because otherwise people might not buy him. But I think that he has got potential to be a good player and we can get some money for him. But the number 10 role for me is dead. I tend to agree with what Harry's saying in terms of the way that Arteta's moulded this Arsenal side together. I think he can't play 4-3-3 at the moment. He's tried it, and he's tried playing out from the back, and we keep mucking up, and we've tried David Luiz in the back too, and it don't work, and we've tried, the midfield, and it doesn't work. So I think that he's done the right thing there, but he's only making do with the tools that he's been given, and I think what he wants to do is move towards what Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp are doing, because they've proven it to be successful in the Premier League, and that's what he wants to achieve. He wants to get our Arsenal back, and I believe he will do it, but the board have to back him. So I'm going to agree with Graham and think that he's going to want to go for a 4-3-3 potentially, but it's not going to be for another season, in my opinion, because he hasn't got the tools to do it.
Just something that I want answered. Why is everyone so surprised that I've got the new shirt? Is it not released in England yet?
It's a fake. It's fake.
No.
I'm joking.
Yeah, AliExpress. No, everyone watching, it is the new one. So there you go. Have a look. Emirates fly better. The old 3 stripes are down the side there. I like that.
Does anybody know where the? Yeah, it's nice. Does anybody know when it's going to be released in England?
I don't. That's why I'm so surprised. Everyone's like, "Is that a new kit he's got on? How comes he's got that?" I walked into the sports shop today and went, "Oh look, they've got the new shirts. I'll have one of them." Everyone's saying the next. A fella in the comments said they're selling them in Next. Don't know about that. Really? Is that right?
What in Ireland?
Or did he think that they was? Oh no, I know. Sorry, I see the thing here now. They're out next week. You forgot to put week. They're selling them next week.
Oh, what, they're out next week.
Yeah, not in next. Yeah.
Someone told me that
they're being released for the FA Cup.
Used in the last league. Well, I don't know. Someone told me it was going to be played for the last game of the season at Watford. Or was going to wear it for the last game against Watford. I don't know about the FA Cup.
I think someone's saying in the chat here that they're releasing them for the FA Cup. I think
they won't mind letting us wear them because we're not changing supplier. So when you get clubs and they change supplier, they have to stay in that kit.
Oh yes.
But because we're staying with Adidas, they don't mind us wearing the new one early because it's still theirs. It's like Chelsea.
Hang on.
If you notice, Chelsea and City are both wearing their new shirts now.
Hang on a second. Karen reckons they're definitely on the Next website because I had a look earlier. Next?
What? Next, apparently. I got told that today. It's on the
Next. Having a look.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that, Harry, there now. And
oh, my God.
They're
it's
on
true.
there.
It's true. And I'm going to put this comment up because this
man.
may
Is it now or not?
Didn't
Lee, you can get it on Next now.
Yeah, Lee. No, not the Arsenal shirt, but they've got all the training gear, Lee. You know that yellow top you got with the pink stripes, the one you like.
That's where Lee got it from. Yeah. That's where Lee's been to Next.
Well, they're only 22 quid. That's really good.
What? Yeah, 35. I'll pay for that.
Oh, hold on, let me check. Maybe. Oh no, sorry, that's the kids one. That's the kids one.
People are saying, let's talk about facing Chelsea in the FA Cup final. We'll do that next week because we'll have nothing to talk about otherwise.
Can I just add that someone's just sent me this? Mikel Arteta, 7 months already made the FA Cup final. Tottenham, 29 years, 21 different managers since they last made an FA Cup final.
I love it.
And the other point I wanted to say is when that cup semi-final draw was made, Robbie Savage, Robbie Savage?
Unfortunately.
He said that Man City got a bye to the final.
Oh, no.
So he made his whole career was a bye, wasn't it, Robbie Savage? So he knows a thing or two about It's funny how lazy punditry comes back to bite you in the arse, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think, is it Mark Goldbridge as well from United We Stand, is it?
Yeah.
He done a live reaction to the draw, and his reaction was when Arsenal came out against Manchester City. Arsenal are out, lads. Arsenal are out. So yeah, it's lovely when that happens, isn't it? And especially when it happens to us. Lads, we're gonna have to finish this here. I'm afraid it's been absolutely brilliant podcast. Love doing this kind of thing with you guys every single week. More comments. Where did I get it from? I got it from Cummins Sports. So if you Cummins Sports, anyone in Ireland watching and you can find the Cummins Sports near you, that's where I got it from. But it comes in at an eye-watering €90. I'm not too sure how much it's going to be in England.
Let me just try and work that out. That's about £82. That's a lot of money for. Like, I don't think they're going to be as dear in England.
I don't think they will be, but yeah. So look, where have we got tomorrow? Aston Villa tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, away from home.
Away, yeah.
Yeah. Do we see any change in the squad?
Yes.
Oh,
be rotated.
I think they will be. Yeah.
A little
Massively
bit
rotated.
Rotation.
A little bit of
Eddie will be back tomorrow. He'll play tomorrow.
Eddie,
£65 at next, Darren saying. So
£65 in next.
At next. For a fiver post, I'd have sent you one over if you saved yourself a tenner.
The only thing I will say on these last two league games, Craig, is that do you remember last year when Unai Emery prioritised the final in Baku and started resting players, and then it all fell apart in the league?
Yeah.
I know we haven't got too much to go for, so I just hope that we don't. I think momentum is very important as well. So I think, although there should be a little bit of light rotation, I don't think he should just totally give up these league games and just rest everybody, because I want these players sharp going into the cup final.
I agree.
I think that's important.
But I agree with you, Graham, 100%. But I've got to say this: I can't see Baku happening again. Those players who are on that pitch, who are going to get a chance now to go out at Wembley and get redemption for what they did to us.
A lot of these players are playing for their futures under Arteta as well.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah. But it's a great point, Graham.
I think Richard made a point of it earlier on, which was a very good point. It might not have been Richard, but someone made it. Richard, I think it was Richard though, that turned around and said that we don't want to go into that cup final relying on Europe. Like we did last season. You know what I mean? If we can nail Europe while winning the next two games, then if we do lose the cup final, at least we've got Europe. Like last season, I felt that there was a little bit more added pressure on us because Chelsea had guaranteed Champions League football and we hadn't.
Yes.
So I felt that gave them a little bit of an advantage. So we want to go there. Let's win these next two games. And listen, we've got Watford and Aston Villa. We can change the squad around and win those two games, and that's how you've got to look at it. I think anyway. And
the other thing, I think
players are playing for cup final places.
Yeah, and the other thing is players are playing for their place in the team for the cup final. But I think also we owe it to the integrity of the Premier League, because basically Aston Villa and Watford are playing to stay up, aren't they? So I don't think we should. Yeah.
Oh, fuck Aston Villa. Let them go down. Horrible club.
Harry.
I have to share those sentiments. I wish it was Brighton going down, but there you go.
You want to go to the ball ring, getting a shirt from the ball ring, then you two.
The only reason he said that was because obviously Aston Villa turned Xhaka down. I think that's why he said that.
All right, lads. Before we end, any other business?
Yeah, Craig. Just before we do go, there's just to add on a funny note. That Salzburg lad that I want, this 95 Winston's got his name, and I just want Lee to say it.
Dan, there you go.
I'll have a go at it.
Go on, have a go.
Is there someone here that can pronounce that? Harry, can you pronounce that?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to have a go at it. Dominic Zazobos. Zazobosli. Leah. Zazoboslia. Dominic Zazoboslia.
Zabosley, I would have gone for.
If he comes, Craig, you can get him on the back of your shirt. How about that?
Oh, talking of names on back of shirts, Graham, you just you just reminded me about something. Now, if you were watching the Same Old Arsenal podcast when we signed David Luiz, whatever you want to call him, Lee Judges was not happy about signing David Luiz. And he said that if Arsenal got to an FA Cup final with David Luiz in the team, he'd buy a new Arsenal shirt and put David Luiz on the back of it. Lee Judges, we've got to an FA Cup final, and not only David Luiz in the squad. A monumental performance from the man to get us there. When can we expect this lovely shirt with David Luiz written on the back?
Well,
Lee, there's
when the new
65
shirts
quid in
come
next,
out-
mate.
65 quid in next, mate.
They don't- Unfortunately, they don't do the printing there. So what I'll do is when the new shirt comes out, I'll get David Luiz on the back, like you know what I mean? Number 23. There you go.
We're
right,
only
you know what I
teasing.
mean?
We wouldn't.
Can
We
we,
really wouldn't.
Craig,
We
when he
wouldn't.
does
We wouldn't
that,
expect you to do that.
Craig, when he does that, can we sell it and give it away in a competition?
We wouldn't. I'm only teasing him. I just wanted to say I wouldn't expect him to go out and do
Can we
that.
get him to do that?
I-
Can we get him a wig as well to wear it on the podcast? To have a new wig.
Now that would be good. 2 sweatbands. You look like a Scouser. You wouldn't like doing with David Luiz. You look like you're from
dear.
Liverpool. Anyway, let's end it there. Let's go for some predictions. So we've got Villa on Tuesday, and we've got Watford on. Is it Sunday? Saturday?
Sunday.
And Sunday. So let's get some.
Yes.
Let's get some predictions.
Oh,
So
4 o'clock kick-off, son.
yeah, Aston Villa, Dan. Aston Villa and Watford. 6 points.
I'm going to go for 6 points. Yeah, I think we will beat both of those. I'll go 2-1 Arsenal against Villa. I think we'll nick it.
I'll go 6 points as well. What about Watford, Dan? Quickly.
I'm going to go for 2-0 against Watford. I think we'll beat them quite easily.
I'll go 6 points. 3-1 against Villa. And are we at home against Watford?
Yeah.
Yeah. Home against Watford. 4-0 against Watford. Harry.
I'm going to go for, I think we'll beat Villa. I think we're going to draw against Watford, and it's going to be enough for them because they've got this this Deeney shit with us, haven't they? And also, I think that the Pozzo family get loads of stick, but actually their decision to get rid of Pearson is going to pay off because it always does with him.
Absolutely. Judges, what are you saying?
I feel that I think that we're nick it against Villa. I'm going to go for a 2-1 as well. I think it'll be a tough game, and I think that Watford will be in disarray after this. I think City will give them a good hiding, and I think that we will as well. So, but I think that they just have enough goals in them to just scrape it through. But I think that 6 points coming up, and I think we need to get those 6 points, boys. We really do. You know,
We do.
To the final.
It'd be nice to push on, get those 6 points, and then have the FA Cup final. You know, Graham, confident, mate?
Yeah, I think we'll win both games. Great. I think we'll beat Villa 2-0. And I think that means that if we beat Villa, they're down. I think Bournemouth are going as well. So by the time we play Watford, I think Watford will be safe. Even though they've lost to Man City. And I think we'll beat Watford by a couple of goals.
Yeah, I like this.
Well,
This is a
thing is,
player I like
if
that. Nitro says relegate Villa and then get Grealish at the carpet. I'd love Jack Grealish at Arsenal. I'd love it.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd prefer Grealish to Coutinho, by the way.
Jack, if you're watching, Jack, I know you're watching. I know because you're an avid watcher of this podcast. Come.
Where's he going to play then? The number 10 rock?
Oh, in goal. I don't care. I just
he can play all over.
Kids mustard. That's for another podcast. Thank you very much for everyone watching live. I think we nearly 600 at peak. Wow. Thank you very much indeed. If you're listening on SoundCloud, thank you very much. If you're listening on Spotify, thank you. If you're listening on iTunes, thank you. If you could leave a like on the video just before you go, that would be amazing as well, because that helps us along the way. What's that noise? It sounds like a duck. Is it someone's phone going off or something?
Someone's phone vibrating. Yeah.
Someone's phone vibrating.
I thought it was yours, Craig.
Nah, it's got to be Graham's, isn't it? It's Graham.
Gotta be Graham.
I heard it for 4 months. Have we now? All of a sudden, we've heard it. Don't take much of a detective to work that out.
My thanks to Dan. My thanks to Harry. My thanks to Graham. My thanks to Lee, and of course, my thanks to Nigel as well. In the chat, making sure you're all behaving yourself. Thank you very much, Nigel. Audio will be up within a couple of hours. Give me a chance to sit down and have a beer, and I'll get it up for you. So until we see you again, up the Arsenal, and take care of yourselves and each other.
See ya.
Up the Arsenal.
How you going?
Daniel,
How you going?
Dan, you'll have to finish it. I don't know how to do it, mobile.